Hey, this video is to talk about assessments within a fitness and wellness education curriculum. I think if the main premise of a fitness education curriculum is students must develop the knowledge base and skills necessary to plan and execute personal activity programs throughout their lives. If that's the basis, then the assessment model of self-assessment within this curriculum, I think is really important. Some of the things when I looked underneath assessment, I mean, there was a litany of ways to assess. It looked like basically a typical classroom model. Um, but then when you get into it and you read, the fitness level shouldn't be graded. Grades should be really based on the fact that someone should be able to self-assess, assess themselves, and then be able to develop a program where they can interpret the results of the self-assessments and then create something that allows them to work towards their results. So you have the typical things where journaling and there's homework, and I mean the list for things was crazy: quizzes, exams, presentations, projects, journals, papers. I mean, it went on and on. But I think the reality is when you're dealing with self-assessment, it's about the individual finding what works for them, how they can interpret those results, and then, like the book says, go back and create short-term goals, small stages where they can do one thing at a time. It's not about creating an overall comprehensive program from day one to forever, but it's about understanding what works for the individual, and giving them the tools and the skills and the knowledge for them to assess that and figure it out. So I think this is it's a great way, as long as people are motivated and and take the time to work on those cognitive skills, which is a real big base of this curriculum model. Is being and that's where self-assessment obviously comes in and is important. um, you know so I think in terms of how assessment kind of works with what I'm doing currently, with the kids I have, 11 to 14-year olds. My sport's pretty simple, swimming. We go to a meet, you get a time. Is it your best time? Is it not your best time? Which always isn't great assessment. It's hard to do your best every single time, every 2 weeks or whatever it is. So we do a lot of stuff in practice where we do time, interval training. We do times. How's that in practice? We do film, underwater filming assessments. I do above water, filming, during practice to work on techniques and drills. I have a goal setting meeting. Every kid has a goal sheet that they write down, and we go over about every 3 months or so. Um, so I think, and a lot of that is assessment from myself, but a lot of it is personal assessments too. The kids know when they're giving the 100% effort and they're working hard, and they expect to see results. And unfortunately, as we all know, just because you worked hard one week doesn't mean you're going to see a great result the next week. It takes some time, and I think that's one of the things with this generation of kids, is something that you really need to explain is, coming, showing up, 4 or 5 days a week, every day and working really hard is great, but that doesn't mean that, you're going to see those results right away. It can be comprehensive sometimes. It might take a month or 2 months, or hey, you've been sick or you've been that. And so one of the things I also for assessment is keep a journal of when they've been there, log in the practices so that they can see what their effort level has been. With practices, how many they've made, what their times are in practice. We keep a chart, how, across the board we do a set. Okay, this is what you were this month, this month, this month, this month. And so they can see that visual thing and hopefully connect the two and say, oh, I've been in practice. Oh, and then I did good, and I swam hard and tried hard, and then hopefully my times got better at the meet. So that's how we do it in my program. And so there you go. Hope everyone's doing great.